Hey, what's up, guys? Haim here. It's been a minute, eh? It's been a few years since I was on here. But just recently, the reason I'm on here is because just recently I made an animated video for my system called the credit system. Not to be confused with the Chinese social credit system, which a lot of people are getting confused with that. I didn't know about the Chinese social credit system when I first started writing the credit system back in 2016, so that's the reason why I called it the credit system, because I didn't know there was already something called the social credit system. But I can't change it now because it's all through my book, so it has to stay the credit system. I made an animated video just as an introduction to what the credit system is and how it works, and I've had a few responses to it, and I just wanted to answer a couple of those questions now, to clear a few things up. Now, the first question that people are asking me is it communism? The answer to that is no, it's not communism. Communism is when nobody has any property rights. Communism is when there is the government in total control. And communism is when it's a fully planned society, right down to how much groceries cost and everything. And also, in communism, everyone gets paid the same amount. So in my system, people get paid what they deserve, what they earn. The economy is planned, semi-planned. Goods are still decided by supply and demand. What else? Goods, supply and demand. The planned nature of the economy isn't dictated by a government. It's decided by the people through benefit to society referendums, and people still have property rights. I think I just said that. Whatever. So, no, it's not communism. It's not communism. The second question is it capitalism? People are stuck in this dichotomy of capitalism and communism, as if they're the only two systems that can ever exist. No. Now, there are aspects of communism, such as semi-planned society. That's an aspect of communism. It's not a principle of communism, because the principle of communism, in terms of what Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx wrote, would be to have bloody revolution and for the proletariat to take over the bourgeoisie. But I'm not calling for any of that. We do it smart. We inculcate the idea into the minds of the people, and then let them see for themselves when they see the world, and they say, okay, the world's like this. But then they see the book and what I wrote, and they say, but we could have that. So why aren't we having that? Because that's better. So that's what we do. Don't need a bloody revolution. Now, in terms of capitalism, yes, it does have some aspects of capitalism, such as people getting paid what they deserve to be paid. What's going on with my camera? People getting paid, it's old camera, what they deserve to get paid. People still have property rights. That's a massive one. And I'm getting texts. From my mum. And a few other things that make it sort of have capitalist aspects. I would say the biggest capitalist aspects of my system is the fact that people get rewarded for what they do. So an entrepreneur will be rewarded for starting up a business by getting more credits than, say, a worker for the entrepreneur. So it still rewards entrepreneurship, which is really important for innovation and going forward with our technologies and just with the services in general. Now, the third thing is it socialism, because people are asking, like, is it socialism, is it communism? They can't quite get their head around what it is. It's not socialism either, because in socialism you would be taxing the entire populace of those citizens. You'd be taxing them. You'd be using that tax money for social enterprises. So no, because there's no tax in the credit system. So if you didn't know, the credit system works on something called credits, which is why it's called the credit system, and also credit where credit is due, which is a capitalist sort of axiom, if you will. Credit where credit is due, and credits are an unlimited form of digital currency. Can be used on the blockchain if you want, doesn't have to be. And those credits are automatically generated and paid to people when they perform work. Now, because credits are automatically generated and they are unlimited, you don't need tax anymore. Because, and I know what you're thinking, inflation, I'm going to get to that. You don't need to tax anyone anymore. The government doesn't need money. The government doesn't have money. The government is just going back to being what the government should always have been, which is looking after municipalities and things like that. Okay? Managing infrastructure, things like that. Not being these power wielders and dictating everything that goes on with our lives. That's not what government's supposed to be. And we have to change the word government because it means mind control as well. So we have to change that. Now, in terms of, I know what you're thinking, like you're thinking inflation, because basically if credits are unlimited and they just get created and everyone's just getting all these credits, and it's like, well, inflation is going to go mental. But the thing is that it doesn't circulate. That is one of the main principles and things of the credit system, using our new technologies, which make it so awesome, is that credits don't circulate. Credits are deleted when you buy goods. You never pay for services. Services are free. People get paid by the credit department for providing a service automatically. They don't need your money anymore. But goods are still paid for, and they are dictated by supply and demand. Supply and demand can't be equaled, can't be beat. Supply and demand is the perfect way to decide prices. I racked my brain for quite a while trying to think of how we could change something from supply and demand to something else, and I just couldn't do it. I kept coming back to supply and demand because I was like, it's just the best. It really is. So where am I? Oh yeah, I remember. So yeah, that's why that doesn't need tax. That's why credits can be unlimited, because they get deleted upon purchase, which means that inflation is ended. Because when you've got something like, it's like a point system. You get points, you use those points, they get deleted, and that's the end of them. You have to earn more back again. They don't go around circulating in a big cycle. And that's the other thing. People aren't trying to fight over the scarce essential resource, which is money. Everyone knows that they can earn money just as long as they're proving that they're doing work. If the government's controlling the credit system, if the credit department is a government department, then the government will pay out people when they do work. But in my video, because in my book I said that's the case, and I backed it up by saying that it's because they'd be voted for democratically by the people, so they could change something. It wouldn't be like bureaucratic. But in my video that I just released, I said that the credit department would be separate from the government to avoid government corruption. Because back in 2016, when I wrote the book, I trusted the government. I don't trust the government anymore. So we know what kind of agendas from the WEF, the UN, these sort of places that they're getting their agendas from. We know what they're trying to push. They're going to try and push a one world currency, and this is exactly what my system rejects. and paves the way for us to have self-sustainable sovereign nations, which I believe is the world of the future. We can all be interactive, we can all be, but we can all be independent. And I believe that we need to be independent as nations, moving forward, to be as, the best versions of ourselves. The last thing is cash. Why do I want to get rid of cash? Because a lot of people are like, cash, we have to have cash, avoid the digital system, avoid the digital economy that they're trying to bring in, keep cash. And I'm like, we don't need to. Look at my system, read it, and you'll see that we can use it to our advantage. We can use our technology to our advantage. We don't need cash anymore. Yes, it may seem invasive, but if we write a constitution before we get into the credit system, and that constitution outlines very specifically the privacy and the sovereignty of the people over the state, then we're good. If we don't do that, then there could be trouble. But I think it's really important to do a constitution before we actually initiate any kind of new system. Because a place like New Zealand, we don't have a constitution. In the United States, you guys do. But in New Zealand, we don't have a constitution, and I think we need one. So yeah, that's all I wanted to come on and say for now. Thanks for listening, and go check out my new video. It's called The Credit System, a Revolutionary New Economic Model, Democratic Economic Model. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.